Hello internet and welcome back to Top 5 Scary Videos. Now, the kindness of strangers is a magical thing, the aid and assistance of someone that you have no ties or obligations to, but they're willing to lend a helping hand when in need. Shared preservation is what has made us so successful as a species, but in some cases, that's exactly where predators look to take advantage. Be warned, horror fans, when you're left out in the open, you never know exactly who will come knocking. Today, we're taking a look at some terrifying tales from the road. As always, I'll be your host, Jack Finch, as we take a look at 5 scary hitchhiker encounters. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe bell floating down below so you can stay up to date with our latest and greatest uploads. Also, go ahead and say hello in the comment box because it makes my day. Kicking off at number 5, A Ride to Joy House. On August 16th, 1982, two sisters, Yvette and Mary Bauhaud, were hitchhiking on their trip through the south of Iceland. Now, it was a different time, and particularly in Iceland, which is generally a very small, safe country, hitchhiking was the preferred method of transport for young people. On that morning, on the side of the road, the sisters were picked up by a man in his mid-40s. His name was Greta Arnason. He told them both that his job was to protect the area and help local tourists whose cars had broken down. The girls got the impression that he was a sheriff of some kind. He spoke English incredibly well, and he took them to a small cabin in the countryside called a cellarhus, or a joy house. By the next morning though, Yvette would be missing and Marie would be rushed to hospital. In the events that transpired, Arnason arrived back at the cabin after midnight with a rifle and a spool of wire in his hand. He accused the girls of smoking weed and claimed that he was taking them to the police. He knocked Marie unconscious with his rifle while Yvette ran into the woods, where she was hunted by Arnason and later shot dead. Marie survived the incident and she lived to tell the tale. Coming in at number 4, Keith Jesperson. In the 1990s, hitchhiking in North America was a dangerous feat if you ever crossed the path of Keith Hunter Jesperson. Born in 1955, Jesperson was a Canadian-American serial killer who found that his occupation as a truck driver offered him the perfect guise to carry out his sadistic, lifelong murder spree. It is believed that he went on to murder at least 8 women, although he has personally claimed to have killed as many as 158 people. Also known as the Happy Face Killer, Jesperson's preferred method of murder was strangulation, the same method that he used to kill animals as a small child. Nearly all of his victims were hitchhikers on the road, young women and transients on the road who had zero connection to him and were, for the majority, looking to run away from their pasts. After the body of his first victim was found, the crime remained unsolved, which strangely angered him. Jesperson began writing letters to the media and the police, taunting them with his involvement and a hand-drawn smiley face, which led to him being dubbed as the Happy Face Killer. Jesperson was eventually caught and eventually sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences, and he remains imprisoned at the Oregon State Penitentiary to this day. Coming in at number 3, we're going to take a break from this all with a good old tale from Reddit. Reddit user The Best Jeans, which is the best name, tells a horrific hitchhiking tale that her family friend Nikki told her growing up. There's a lot to be learned in this story, so make sure to pay close attention. It was the early 80s and Nikki was a young woman in her mid-20s. She was a real free spirit, a kind-hearted soul who saw the best in everyone and was always willing to lend a hand. Nikki was driving about an hour or 2 from the nearest town when she saw a man walking down the side of the road. He was hitchhiking, so she picked him up and asked if he needed any help. He was a polite man for the best part, shy if a bit unassuming, and asked for a lift into the city. Of course, Nikki was always there to lend a hand, so she did. Along the way, the conversation was pleasant enough, general small talk about friends, the weather, and the news. Nikki even bought him dinner at a little pit stop on the halfway point, which he became embarrassed at and flustered, but it was fine. Nikki was helping the guy out. As soon as they got into the city, the man couldn't thank her enough. Before he left, he asked for Nikki's number so he could contact her and thank her, eventually pay back her kindness. Now here's the rub. A week or so later, Nikki got a phone call. It was the man. As he spoke, he didn't let her get a word in edgewise. He said that she should thank God that she was raised so nice, because his first thought when he got into the car was that he'd kidnap and murder her once they got to the first pit stop. He'd steal the car and dump the body in a ditch and be on his merry little way. But after she was so kind, he just couldn't bring himself to do it. He couldn't live with himself after murdering such a nice lady like Nikki. He warned her, please Nikki, never ever pick up another hitchhiker Then he hung up the phone. Well, you'd be a fool to not take that advice, wouldn't you? And next up at number 2, The Highway of Death. If you've ever seen the film Wolf Creek, this one will give you chills. Ominously dubbed The Highway of Death, an 800-kilometer stretch of road in pure isolation of the Australian outback, is the site of 14 unsolved cold cases, the majority of which young hitchhikers trying to make their way across the unforgiving country. Well, I say unsolved for pure effect because in 2014 the killer came forward in all their grisly reality. The 32-year-long investigation was blown wide open by abattoir worker Andy Albury, dubbed Australia's Hannibal Lecter, who was already serving life in prison for the 1984 murder of Aboriginal woman Gloria Pindon. He'd toyed with the facts though throughout the years, leading investigations to dead ends and then retracting his statements. Detective Sergeant Les Chapman, the first to arrest Albury in 1983, claimed that he boasted to him of killing 14 other people while he moved across the Australian outback, making him one of the youngest serial killers in history. Scary stuff. Even scarier though, that the truth of the matter hasn't been officially concluded, with some believing that another killer is still at large out in the Australian outback. And finally, at our number 1 spot, Ben Rhodes. Now, if this whole list hasn't been fuel enough for avoiding hitchhiking, then this final spot will definitely make it so. Robert Ben Rhodes, aka the Truck Stop Killer, is a prevalent American serial killer who is suspected of torturing and murdering more than 50 women between 1975 and 1990. As far as police are aware, the Truck Stop Killer was at large for over 15 years, with his modus operandi being the mobility and transient nature of a long-distance truck driver. So much so that Rhodes was discovered to have converted the sleeper cab of his truck into a personal torture chamber, where he kept his victims sometimes for weeks before murdering them. Through the 80s and early 90s, the Truck Stop Killer would prey on teenagers, young people who would run away from home, looking to get from place to place in the massive sprawl of rural America. It wasn't until April 1990 when an Arizona police officer found a truck on the side of the road with its hazard lights on. When he investigated, he found a woman handcuffed and screaming, and Rhodes, who attempted to talk himself out of the situation. Thankfully, justice was served and Rhodes was imprisoned, although he has only been convicted of 3 murders. He's in prison for life without parole. Well, that's the end of that, and good riddance too. I don't know about you, but if I ever find myself walking down a lonely highway at night, I think I'll just walk. What do you guys think? If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comment box down below. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, I've been your host, Jack Finch. You've been watching Top 5 Scary Videos, and until next time, you take it easy.